Hi everyone, I'm Jade. I'm your new teacher. That's my name. I'm from London. So it's really nice to meet you all, and I want you to watch my video, and I really do want you to subscribe at the end of the lesson so you get to see my other new videos on engVid. But first of all, for today's lesson, I've got a confession to make. I am an introvert. What's an introvert? This is a kind of person who actually just prefers to spend a lot of time alone. But people misunderstand introvert, and they always think that it means shy. They think that every introvert is shy, and I wouldn't say I'm shy. It's just the way my personality is, that for me, when I spend time alone, that's kind of like how I get energy. And then after, I feel good again and I can go out into the world. But most people in the world, they're actually opposite to me. They are extroverts, okay? And this means that when you're an extrovert, you just love to be around people all the time, and that's what makes you feel great, basically. So we've got some people who are extroverts in the world, and we've got some people who are introverts in the world. How does this relate to you learning English? Well, I think it does, because it can really help you know that the way you're learning English is right for you, or, you know, you could change it and make it better for you. But also, I would say that in general, the whole world of English language teaching kind of focuses more on these guys, because actually they've got a great advantage when it comes to learning languages. So we're going to talk a little bit about these guys and give advice for, you know, the majority of you watching this video. But we're also going to look at the introvert perspective, because this is something that I just found out myself when I was trying to learn languages. I found out that, although I didn't realize it at the time, I was just really slow. Like, I'd be trying to remember a word and really, really slow, and everybody else has already said it, or everybody else has already finished. Like, the words came really, really slowly to me. But I always understood a lot, and that confused me, because I think sometimes, oh, I'm just rubbish at this language. But I understood a lot, so my speaking wasn't as advanced as my other skills in the language. Not something I realized until later. I wish I'd seen a video like this to help me explain why. So let's take a look first of all at some expressions that can describe extroverts and introverts. So an extrovert is somebody who thinks the more the merrier. And that means the more people there are around me, the happier I am. They love to be around people. Extroverts also are often the life and soul of the party. That means they're the most fun person in the room, and people like to be around them. Great fun people to have at a party. Also, very often, extroverts are chatterboxes. Blah, 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 talking all the time, always got something to say. Extroverts are chatterboxes. And I'm just pointing out the differences. I'm not saying that you guys are wrong to be an extrovert. That's just the way you are. Let's have a look at the introvert, the person who likes to spend time alone a lot of the time. For them, you could say their motto is, it's just me, myself, and I. Happy to be alone. You could also say an introvert at a party is more likely to be a wallflower. A wallflower is someone who's not going to start conversation with anyone, is not going to be dancing around having great, amazing conversations. The wallflower is going to be a bit shy and is going to wait for other people to come to talk to them. And the introvert also likes to have deep and meaningful conversations, okay? Doesn't like small talk, doesn't like chatter, likes to talk on a meaningful level. So they've got different ways of being. How does this relate to learning English? Well, as I said earlier, the extrovert really has the learning advantage when it comes to languages, because most people, you know, when they learn a language, They do it because they want to be able to speak the other language, because communication is so much about speaking. And the great thing for you, if you're an extrovert, is you're so curious and social. You want to know what's happening all the time. You want to be in the middle of things. You want to know what's going on. And that's a great advantage for you, because it means that you talk. You take every opportunity to talk. It's no problem for you. So you could be in a new situation, in a different country or something, but, maybe you feel a little bit shy because you don't want to say something wrong, but your need to be in conversation is so strong and you're so proactive that you will talk. So that means that you get lots of speaking practice, and that's so good for you developing in your English. So if you're an extrovert, you will learn a language much more quickly, at least at a speaking level, than your introverted friends. Your introverted friends are really quite shy speakers. They might not be shy people, but to say, small talk stuff, for example, to actually be speaking the other language at a very basic level, like, what are your hobbies? That kind of thing. An introvert's almost thinking like, I can't bring myself to ask the question. So they might know what to say, but they might not say it. And because they don't say it, their mouth is not getting the practice of speaking that other language. They know a lot in their head, but they're not actually using it. So this can make their progress with the language quite slow. And also, the introvert very often misses the opportunity to speak because they're hesitant. It means they're slow. Maybe before they speak, they think about what they're going to say. Plus, they don't start conversations with people. The introvert waits for the other person to come and speak to them. And when you're an introvert, you're quite fearful of mistakes. You don't want to look stupid. You don't want to say the wrong thing. And that's one of the reasons that you don't speak to people. So this is not looking very good for you learning a language as an introvert. But, it's not all bad, because let's look at the other side of the situation now. So if you're an extrovert, you might be great at talking, but I know this for a fact, very often extroverts are not so good at listening, because you just want to be talking and not so much listening to what other people are telling you. And the reason this is also a bad thing for extroverts is it often means that they have a small passive vocabulary. You don't actually know that many words, but the words you do know, you can use very well, and you can have great conversations with it. So that's good. On the other hand, the introverts might not be saying much, but they could be great listeners and they could understand a lot more than the extrovert. The extrovert really seems like they know everything and can say everything, but they don't understand so much. Also, the introvert has a really wide passive vocabulary. There are lots of words they know, but the thing is, there can be a time delay in remembering those words. So very often you miss the opportunity in conversation. You know them, but they come too slow. This is one of the reasons that introverts are good at writing in their own language and also in English, because when you write, you have a little bit of extra time to remember what you want to say. Also, because introverts very often like to do stuff by themselves, we could say that maybe they've got more time for actually doing their studies and their work. So very often they have better grammar skills because they're actually willing to do that kind of work. So what can you do now you know the strengths and weaknesses of either being an extrovert or an introvert? Well, I've got some advice for you, and I think it can help you with your development when you're learning English, basically. So we'll start with the extroverts. it's really amazing that extroverts are the kind of people who can learn a language or English actually just on the street. They can go to a place and, just kind of learn from the people they're around. That's so great. For an introvert, that would be really hard to do because it would take so much courage to make themselves speak in every single opportunity they got, that they probably wouldn't do it. So anyway, if you're an extrovert, it's easy for you to take every opportunity to speak. So that's why doing immersive experiences, traveling to other countries where you can do an exchange or studying in a different country, that's great for you because, again, you take every opportunity to speak. Also, traditional TEFL classes, these are great for you as well because there's a big class of people, you can swap, you can talk to many people in the room. That's great for you. So much opportunity for you to be practicing your English in traditional classroom situations. What's not so useful for you? I would say book learning in general. You really like to have your English practice active. You like to be speaking, you like to be involved, and you like to be doing things. So wherever you can, make sure you're doing that. Of course, studying is helpful, but for you, know that you'll really develop your speaking just by being in the right situation around the right people. Also, I've had a couple of times where extroverts have told me, I could never learn on Skype because, I need to be around more people and there's just one person, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's something you'd have to discover for yourself. Could a one-on-one situation actually work for you? But just as a general rule, extroverts do like to be around a lot of people. So perhaps maintaining the teacher-student interaction for as much as an hour is not something that an extrovert's really going to enjoy so much. Also, audio learning programs, they could be okay, but not fantastic for the extrovert because there's no interaction there for them. Moving on, advice for my introverted friends. Sounds a bit silly, but talk to yourself, okay? Because you don't take opportunities to speak, what you know in your head is often at a much higher level than your ability to actually say it and speak it. So when you try to speak, the words don't come out in the really nice way that you want them to, just because you haven't practiced moving your mouth enough. But when you talk to yourself, nothing can go wrong. You can just talk to yourself. So that's something to try. You can make a friend, a singular friend, someone that you feel really comfortable speaking English with. So you can get a lot of practice with that one person and, feel good about yourself when you're doing it. And know that some things will be scary for you when it comes to learning a language, and that's okay. For example, and I speak from experience, in a typical TEFL classroom situation, there's a very strong emphasis on games all the time. Always playing games with this person, speaking about things, moving to the other table, speaking to another person. And it can be quite draining for an introvert because there are many people, there's a lot of small talk and there's a lot of games. So maybe if you're like me, you won't like that. Also, big classes might be something you don't like because there are many people that you will need to speak to, and that can maybe shake your confidence a bit and you might not be feeling too good. I don't know why I put teach yourself there. This is in the wrong place. But teaching yourself is one of your strengths. So it's okay just to do lots of self-study, talking to yourself, doing your grammar, watching engVid. You can do all that stuff by yourself. So I hope that this has helped you understand the way you learn a little bit better from a personality perspective. What I would like you to do now is go to the engVid website where you can do a quiz on today's lesson. Plus, this is my reminder to you to subscribe here so that all my English videos on engVid you're going to know about when they're released. But my other news, and I hope you're paying attention, is that I have my own separate YouTube channel. And if you go to my personal YouTube channel, I've got so many videos on there, more than 200 videos to help you learn English, but also sometimes some more general videos, a bit like today, just sharing my perspective about different things and English accents. So please subscribe here and there. I'd really appreciate it. So now I'm finished and I'm just going to do some introverted stuff. So anyway, I'll see you later.